we get in our heads so much. We're trying to think it out. We're trying to figure it out. And I find myself, my mind going and going and going. It's not figuring out anything. But the minute I start collaging, I'm going to let something inside of me lead me.
Hello, and a very, very warm welcome to this new and very special episode of Harmony Helpers. I am with Melanie, aka Lovey Matisse, today. You are, Melanie, an artist and also a transformational worker, so to speak, for yourself and others. You do collage magazining, and that's also what we will focus on today as a harmony helper, as something that helps to bring about harmony for self and others. But you do that in a very specific way. It's not just about putting together something that looks quite beautiful, as we can see something in the background here. It really is more about the process of all of it. But before we dive into that, I would love you, Melanie, to share a little bit about yourself and the core parts that bring you here to this conversation with me today.
Well, um, I started collaging probably about maybe 40 years ago. Um, and there's some that stand out for me, but generally it was to express either something I was dismayed about, or it was to express something that I wanted to feel. And so there's I spent a lot of time. I kind of feel like I have a PhD in collaging because I've studied so many different types of collaging, but all magazine collage related, except for one style that I also do. Um, and anyway, it's come up over and over again. So I feel like this is a calling for me because it has happened so often, over so many years, that in different forms, sometimes I stop, sometimes I start again. But the key things I think that I love the most about it, and what has been the most impactful, is that it's easy, it's simple, and yet it's transformative. And that's just something that's really, really important to me. And surprises happen. And so I just keep doing it because I'm always surprised by what the results are with doing it. And
Wow.
I don't know if that answers your question, but that's a big question.
It is, and you really put it into a nutshell. So,
Yeah.
when you speak about this process and the transformation that takes place, I mean, I
Mhm.
had the luck to spend some time with you and
Yeah.
explore that thing by myself, which has really allowed me to understand the transformation that can happen. So,
Yes.
from my point of view, it's something where we come from a place of acceptance, the place
Mhm.
of I accept what is and I
Mhm.
portray what is. Not in a way that I want to mirror what I feel it to be, but in a way of
Yeah.
intuitively bringing together something that mirrors back something to me. And then
Mhm.
we go to the place of, okay, this is how it's supposed to feel. So we kind of raise our vibration into what we
Right.
feel this is my truth, this is my choice. And from there, we create a different, a new reality, or let's say,
Yes.
in this case, it's a new magazine collage
Yes.
that mirrors back to us our new truth. So maybe you would like to explore more on that and
Yes.
share your experiences.
Yeah. Uh, Thank you. I'm so glad you had an opportunity to try it. I have this belief that anybody who tries it and is there to experience it will have some kind of transformation. It might not even happen in the midst of it. It could happen a week later, it's because I've had that experience when I've done groups with people. So yes, the first collage is really just, it's almost like taking what is and putting it on paper so that it's not ruling you anymore. You can look at it like an observer. And you can even, I even have the experience of sometimes it's so dramatic that I'm like, really, really, come on. Is it that serious? And I can almost make fun of it, on some level. Or I can at least know that this is, I can soothe myself, or I can do the self-care that I need to do in the moment, because I'm being honest with myself about how am I feeling and how I'm looking at this thing. And then you have that opportunity, like you said, the second part of it is to start to imagine what it would feel like to feel like you want to feel about this. And both of them, it's kind of like the first one is evidence of where you are with no judgment. It's like when you put it on paper, there's no judgment because you've gotten it out of yourself. This is no longer you, really. This is like, I'm looking at this from an objective, position. And then this creative, like, you're in a place of creating something new, not just picturing this on paper or on board or whatever. It's truly making a shift in yourself so that you can picture this, and as a result, just your attempt to embody that, or to not to embody that, to represent that, will make that shift in you. I mean, it's amazing how that happens, that it literally in the process gives you more information. It can give you a different perspective that you didn't even intend when you created this piece. And you get so much from both pieces that maybe you didn't see before. You didn't realize what kind of an issue it was. Maybe it was a fear that you were ignoring, but in the background it was playing. You might see it in the first one and then realize, I don't have to be there. This is really not the reality of my life. And it helps you even put it in an overall perspective of, this is just this situation. It's not my whole life. It's just this thing. And it also allows, for me, I think there's a spiritual aspect too, that there is something, the larger part of us is speaking in this second one, that says, okay, we've got this, and this is the truth about you. Like you said, it's the truth about you. This is not, it's not this. Although, yes, we recognize that this is something you might need to represent right now, but this is who you really are right here. And as I said about surprises, I mean, I've just seen so many surprises, and I've had feelings of, being soothed and clearer mind. It's like, whew, just gotten this out of my body, and now it's outside of me,
Oh, yes.
in terms of the first one. And then the second one, it's like, oh, now I see who I really am.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And all from just taking photos out of a magazine and putting
It's
them on paper.
really miraculous, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
I noticed when I went into the experience with you,
Hmm.
I had some kind of resistance
Hmm.
since I'm not, to be honest, the vision board kind of person. So
Yep.
I
Hmm.
have visions and I treasure them and I value them to be
Ah.
guiding me. But that happens inside of me. It's not like I put something onto the wall so that I would move myself there. So
Hmm.
not like I want to be there and I put it somewhere to remember to remind myself of where I want to be.
Yep.
So that's obviously a wonderful strategy to get somewhere
Hmm.
and then know how it
Yeah.
feels to be there. What
Yeah.
we are talking about, however, is not controlling the outcome, right? So it's
Hmm.
not about
Right.
having something that you imagine to be so much fun, and then when you get there and you live the vision, it might not be as fun as you were under the impression that it could be. You instead, with the magazine collaging transformational process that you offer, really see that you are what you are, coming from a frequency that expresses in pictures that you might not even would have thought of could be part of your
Exactly. You
collage.
don't select these pictures. They appear for you to select. You are inspired to select them. You're guided. You're channeling, at some point. This is you know, what
Oh
should be
yes.
here. Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
that's where the power is. I feel that
Yeah.
really is the
Yeah.
the miraculous part in there. So how do the pictures find you? How do you
Hmm.
feel or know, okay, this is the one I take, that's the page, or that's the picture in the page? How do you get?
Yeah. Well, personally, from what I've experienced is that there, for number one, you've said, I'm available for this. You've kind of agreed that I'm going to let something inside of me lead me. And it's the challenge is keeping our brains from making the decision as opposed to that part of us. And so over time, I think anybody can do it, but I think over time you hone that more and more to meaning um, when you feel there's like a twinge, I feel that I'll pick that photo just just because I got the twinge. I might not have any idea why I picked that photo, but I may pick a lot of them, and I'm just picking it for the twinge. That's it. Both collages, picking it for the twinge. But part of it is I'm thinking about there's an energy that I'm feeling like um, I'm upset and I'm feeling several emotions or one emotion or whatever. And I'm allowing myself to feel that. And then as I'm selecting from a magazine, I get the twinge, you know,
Yes.
and you pick it, and sometimes when those emotions are so strong, it's almost easier to pick it because you're triggered. It's like, I'll take that one. I'll take that one. I'll take that picture. That's exactly how I'm feeling. But you also have to let go of judgment that this isn't, with, I don't want, I don't want to feel like this. That's a judgment right there. Or, I mean, in the judgment sense, you might feel that you don't want to feel it, but you don't select a photo because I don't want to feel it. Is not, that's not, it's still there, despite whether you pick that photo or not. Um, and you're as you do it, you're just going with that energy of what matches. You're trying to match the energy. And then when you're doing the second one, you're you almost have to take a moment to you kind of write, and you allow that first one to kind of let go of you. Okay. And then, now I've taken a breath. I can start looking at how I would want to. And it's like you said, it's not specific. It's not, I'm going to find these specific photos. I'm going to feel a specific thing. I'm just going to feel lighter. And then I'm selecting photos that feel lighter to me. And I might have no idea where it's leading me, but I've had so much experience with the result leading me somewhere different from where I was, into something much lighter, oftentimes more relevant, revealing of where I would like to be and are, as a being. Um, it's pretty simple. It's just a matter of doing it and trusting that the process is working. It's not the magazine. It's not even really collaging. It's the part of you, is allowing the part of you to lead, that
Yes.
part of you to lead. And as you do that, we get in our heads so much. We're trying to think it out. We're trying to figure it out. And I find myself, my mind going and going and going. It's not figuring out anything. But the minute I start collaging, even if I'm putting down what I'm thinking in that, I'm not trying to create a collage about what I'm thinking per se, but it may be an aspect of it. And I'm seeing it. Oh, you're thinking that. Well, no wonder you're feeling like that. And I almost always try to incorporate like almost a funny character. Like it might be a face of someone who's really has a expression on their face like, come on, really? Or something like that. And I'll include them as part of that, about of that collage sometimes.
Wow, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it very much, though.
Yeah.
So now I think we are all very teased to see some of your collages and
Yeah.
to understand how that looks in
Mhm.
real collage, in real life. I mean,
Mhm.
we see some in the background.
Yes.
Maybe you want
Mhm. Yeah, I'll tell you a
to
little bit about these if you
yeah.
can see them. So all right, so this one is actually about aging. I don't know if you can see it. It says Defy Gravity. And basically how it came about, it's almost looks, I don't know if you can see this part, but he's holding her almost as if he's trying to keep her from floating away.
Oh. Mm.
And this is a Black woman who's kind of dancing, she's got gray hair. That's me, of course. And then this woman who's holding these, apples that are floating away. And in the background, there's this, it's almost like an explosion because, that came from me realizing that I was just so preoccupied with this question of aging and what does that mean, for me and things like that. And so that's how that one came about. I had did a whole series of collages while I was getting some coaching about um, actually creating a business.
Oh.
And there were times where I was really angry with my coach. He was bringing up stuff. And so I have some that are like pretty dramatic. And then I have others that are like this. This one, I don't remember it, but I know I needed to empower myself. So as you see, it says, power to the she. And that it's almost like this, me as um, with the world revolving around me, like in the water with fish surrounding. I mean, I'm this big energy. That's all that is, and I'm in nature. Maybe even controlling nature, but I just felt that through that. It says, you think I'm not a goddess? Try me.
Oh, I love it.
So, in this one, know yourself healthy, because I've had also, some questions about knowing myself as this healthy being. I'm exceptionally healthy as a 70-year-old. And I do all these things. I do strength training, I eat well, all that kind of stuff. But still, kind of like it's almost like I'm in the ethers, it's just saying, oh, when you get to be this age, you're going to be, decrepit soon. And I see my mom, who's 95, who is, she has difficulty getting around. And I say, I don't want that for myself, at 95. So anyway, so that's some of those. So in terms of the range of collages, I do whatever, tends to be on my mind. It might be I need reinforcement about something I've been thinking, or it might be to really shift my point of view about something that's really um, causing me a lot of worry, and or to if I have a big awakening, or to even to explore spiritual concepts that I did a class on an author, her name, a writer, and her name was Emma Curtis Hopkins. She's was a spiritual teacher many years ago who taught many of the New Thought people who created churches like Unity, and um, uh, she was a student of Christian Science, the lady who started Christian Science or whatever. And anyway, we were studying a book written about her. And so we did our lessons were to do in collage the concepts that we were learning in the class. And so it was so fascinating to me how it all worked out, because I had like several really big ahas that were changed by the collage work I did. And then, as I was telling you before, I created a set of, basically, I guess you would call it the emotional scale, like Abraham talks about, that I used with myself, rather than creating a collage like, in the moment. I will, which might take me a little bit longer than the time I have. I have this set of cards, which I can show you, that I created over 30 days. I'd committed to creating these small cards. I'll show you. It's the size of the cards. See, they're only that big.
Wow.
So they're not, there's like 5 by 7, something like that.
Mhm.
So it's a small post, card. I used a manila folder and cut a couple of cards out of each folder, or about 4 cards out of each folder. And then every morning I would do a quick collage before I went to work for 30 days. I ended up creating about 100.
Wow.
So I could do more than one in one day in the
Oh,
morning. And 15 minutes, something like that. 15-20 minutes I would do these. And they were just what I was feeling that day. I would just do it. Well, the interesting thing is I really had a lot of them that were, maybe in the lower emotional scale to those that were in the higher scale. And so I just organized them kind of and put them in from low to high.
and these cards, do you work with them? Like,
You can actually use them as divination.
okay.
You can a divination deck. I line them up. What I did was I would line them up. My kitchen, because I spend a lot of time in my kitchen cooking or whatever, I'll line them up on the floor in the kitchen and kind of just see which where I fall in terms of how it feels. And then I just work my way up
Oh,
the
I love
line.
it.
Yeah.
So it's like a letter. You
Yeah.
can see, oh,
Yeah.
that's where I am at right now, and then you
Yes.
tune into each one, going higher
Yes,
and higher.
that's a perfect description. You tune into each one.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's truly amazing.
Yeah.
I do have another question concerning
Okay.
the collages
Okay.
in your background, where
Okay.
you describe the process to be one of two collages, right? But you
Well, that's a
show,
particular kind that I call
oh,
those my contrast collage.
Mhm.
method. And so I don't always do two collages, but probably most of these have another collage with them. I just don't put them up, you know.
Perfect. Oh,
So
now I get it. So you have
yeah.
kind of the part that you acknowledge to be there,
Hmm.
which is not the entire full who you are. It's part of
Yeah.
what you can play, but it's not you as full. And then
Right.
you have the collage that really shows you in your full power, and that's the one you put up on your wall, and that's the one you
Yes.
have mirror back to you the frequency that you know to be in, and that
Yes.
you can get into whenever you look at them and allow them to
Yeah.
vibrate back to you.
Yeah. I have lots and lots of collages.
I can
I just
imagine.
picked a few. Yeah.
I can imagine. That's wonderful.
Mhm.
Do you,
Yeah.
is that a work tool? Or, I mean, it's very personal, right? It doesn't make any
Hmm.
sense to give a collage that you did for yourself to someone else, right?
Um, it depends on whether it has meaning for them, I think.
Yes.
It could, but where I've found, I've looked at them and I go, this exactly explains, and then people look at it and they go, oh, they don't have the same relationship with it. So, but it's an interesting question because when I used to do collages for people and I created birthday cards that were collages.
Mm,
And so I was looking for a particular feeling,
mhm.
that I would represent in those cards. And they seemed to really like them. That was before I came to this, and so I think you can create it for somebody else, but they may not have the same feeling about one I created for myself as
Yeah.
part of it because I have my own story around it. Although the cards that I do, the emotional scale type cards I call them emo cards. I think they what's the word? Um, they can prompt a feeling. It may not be the same feeling for everybody, but I think they're dramatic enough that they do prompt some kind of an emotion
Oh,
related
yeah.
to it. Mhm.
Wonderful. Very
Yeah,
wonderful. Yes.
yeah.
And it's very interesting to me to experiment with that as well. I mean,
Hmm.
you
Yeah.
gifting someone birthday cards is kind of
Hmm.
tuning into something. So when you create
Yeah.
something for yourself, you might get a collage for yourself when you tune into something, when you are really practiced in letting go of your thoughts, that is. Then
Yes.
you might find a collage that is like, oh, what's that? Did I do that?
Oh, well, that
And
happens.
it
That
speaks to
happens all the
others, to
time.
that
Yeah.
person it's addressing, because it suits their way of perceiving things. So that would just be a
Yeah.
fun thing to explore. And
Yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah.
love
I
that.
agree.
Wonderful. Yeah. I mean, I noticed that it really trains you in being in the moment and
Mm.
getting out of your head into your heart and your body, since you are
Mm.
crafting, right? So,
Yes.
from my experience with your technique of the
Mhm.
contrast collages, I felt very uplifted and alive after doing that, since it was a feeling of I crafted something. I
Uh-huh.
created something and it is visible now. So it is way more fulfilling to do it than to speak about it.
Yes.
Actually. Just an encouragement for everyone to try that, and maybe later on Melanie will tell us how to get in touch with her
Yeah.
and how to get an experience with her so that
Yeah.
everyone gets access to that specific
Yeah.
technique, or one of these techniques that arise inside of them from
Mhm.
having an experience with you, Melanie. So, do
Mhm.
you have any journey you would like to share with us where collage magazining really guided you and helped you get through maybe a difficult period of time?
Well, that would be good. I mean, I think you showed the one, my most recent. And let's see, I'll have to find it. Why don't we do this one? Okay, so you know about this one.
Yes,
Um,
I remember.
and something I just thought of too, I wanted to mention is that we were talking about the first and the second collages. This is the first, but the second one we also have writing. I think the writing part after it's completed is very, very important because it brings what we're feeling in our body and our new awareness up to a cognitive level. And that's the only time that we really want to get into the head is just because it rings the bell, It's like, okay, now I get it. I really get it now because I've gotten some clarity on it, verbal and written clarity.
I
But
like that.
anyway, so
Would like
yeah,
to share something here, since
yes,
those of us who are kind of really checking the mind's capacities, they might feel a little bit like, I don't want to write after I crafted something, or in
mhm,
between. From what I experienced, it's also channeled writing. So when we
yes,
then write, the words flow to the paper, and afterwards, when we read what we wrote, then we receive an information for our head. So it's never about coming up with something that you make up in your mind.
yes,
It's more
yes,
of letting go, letting flow, and from there, receiving something that speaks to your heart and something
yes.
that speaks to your mind with the words then afterwards. Thank you.
Yes,
Beautiful.
thank you for adding that because yes, it is. It's not like you're writing something to, I don't know, that's supposed to go with it. It's really writing and being guided on what you're seeing, what you're observing as a person, what insights you're getting. Yeah.
Beautiful. Yes.
So um so anyway, this one was part of my journey of um, finding out that I had breast cancer, and I was going on the journey whether you like it or not.
Oh, yes.
At least that's how I was feeling on the first one. And I just took some time. Luckily, I had a friend who invited me to North Carolina. I spent some time just sitting out in nature and crafted two collages as a result. And this one really is about, again, how I was feeling, which was I almost didn't. There were so many words going on in my head. You can see, it's like gibberish happening. You can't even understand what I was saying in my head. Um, it felt like I was just getting dropped, like a parachuter into rough waters and, didn't know what was going on. Um, I'm the woman in the front is like, shocked that this is happening. And maybe you may be able to see that there's someone hanging off a rock behind her, rock climbing and just kind of hanging off there. But if you can see, there's rough water, there's desert, just and it just felt, I just felt very um, out of control and powerless, at that point,
Mm,
and just surprised.
I can imagine,
um,
yeah.
and I will say that a little background to that is that about a year before, I had had a similar. I had a biopsy because the doctor, I had a different doctor, but this um, doctor told me because of the way this looks, you really have to have a biopsy. This is what mimics cancer. And I had the biopsy, and I decided I was going to take it on my terms. I wasn't going to rush into anything, and ended up negative. And it looked exactly like what, here. So I was kind of skeptical, this second time. It wasn't the same location, but, I was just like, ugh, you know, here we go again. It's going to be false. And then it was positive, and I was like, oh my gosh, okay. But it was very early, which was really good. And then that same day I moved into, and this collage just kind of presented itself, the themes. I was drawn to the white water rafting, in the background, and really making this more of a feeling like it's more of an adventure rather than this burden or this horrible thing that was happening. And then I was ready for it, like Flo on her, her moose. And, I'm standing, looking out at the terrain on the top of a mountain, just ready for the adventure. And the people in the bottom corner who are playing instruments, I saw them as my medical team playing harmoniously together.
Wonderful.
And what's a camp out without s'mores?
So true.
So I felt very different, after creating that collage and making that shift over to something new.
That's a powerful example, since some of those who have watched this up until now might have thought in the beginning, well, yes, transformation, yes, but in a difficult life situation, it might not
Mm,
bring me somewhere else, right? When life
mm,
happens, things don't change. But now we could see very
yeah,
clearly how perspective changes the experience, even if the
yes,
thing does not really change, but the experience changes big time. Having an
right.
adventure is so different to experiencing
A
something that,
trial.
oh,
Yeah.
well,
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
yes, a trial.
Yeah.
Yes.
Definitely a different, and my goal generally is like you were talking about treasure mapping, is not, my goal isn't to make something different happen. My goal is to change my point of view and to feel better about it, to feel good about and lighter, about this whole thing, because you have a choice in any situation. It's if it's happening, you have and you don't really have control over it. Yes, I could decide not to do the treatment, or I mean, I have control in those ways. But the fact that this is the situation right now, I don't have control over that right now. And instead of the effort that it takes to try to make something different happen, it's much better used in lightening up, seeing it differently, so that you go through the experience on a different level.
That's so
And
beautiful.
and this is and this is the second time that I've
Oh,
experienced something big. It's probably more than a second time, but those are the two related, which I will say that previously I had a different type of cancer that was also found early. Um, and um, I did the same thing. I made a shift, and my experience was going from feeling frazzled to, I mean, seeing things happen, like driving to radiation and not having a red light from one part of town to the other part of town.
whoa. Wow.
So I mean, even physical things happening.
Yes.
So it's just because that shift was made. And
I love
that's
that.
really my goal. Yeah.
I truly love that. Like
Mhm.
it's from the perspective I like to see peace and harmony. We do
Mhm.
not fight against anything. We do not try to have things different than they are. We see
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
harmonics in everything.
Yes.
And seeing the harmony in everything, we
Mhm.
allow ourselves to come into a vibration of harmony. And from
Right.
that vibration, what surrounds us finds different expressions, more harmonious
Yes.
expressions, green light streaks
Yeah.
expressions. So
Yeah.
I really love the way you use collaging to settle that in more deeply within us,
Mhm.
within yourself, and to be an example for that.
Yeah. And that's exactly, it settles it into you
Mm.
instead of this mind change. You know, you want to change your mind, but you make an effort to change your mind instead of really truly feeling differently.
Yes, and it kind of goes
Yeah.
to I have to firstly change my life and then I can feel differently.
Yeah.
So it's not I now feel different and that from there life changes or it doesn't matter because I feel different, I choose different
Exactly.
now. Yeah, it would be things have to change and I force things into changing and into different circumstances before I can be happy. So it's tomorrow, not now.
Right.
Oh yeah. So
Yeah.
you put up another collage before.
Yeah.
Would you
Yeah.
like to go back to that and
Yeah.
share
Let's go
what
back
that's
to
about?
that one. Let's see what I can do here. Okay. So this is the bottom. Maybe other people have. This is the scale that I was talking about. So again, like I was saying, you know, I don't know whether what people would associate this with, but for me, it's like total fear. Something's after me. I'm, I'm innocent in that. I just want to fall into a hole, you know,
Oh,
and I'll just kind of go through them as they go along. And
oh,
this is one where there's almost like this tornado going on, and this little figure that doesn't even realize it's causing the storm in my head. And so it's just sitting there, just kind of looking out and totally ignorant to what's going on. And I don't even know what that means. It's just that this feeling like I don't have control over this thing that's literally ignorant to what it's causing. And I'm just the victim here.
oh, yeah.
Again, it's just this sense of hopelessness, I guess it might be interpreted as anger and working really, really hard. And
Yeah.
as I said before, like the figure, I don't know if you can see my pointer, but the figure, the gentleman that's in the foreground, he's basically there to just kind of say, come on. What is this about? Really?
I love it. Hmm.
um, and this one, which is really about just going panic, total panic, craziness, you know. And then the little girl in the front, and this was partly about time, feeling rushed for time, feeling panicked, feeling, just crazy. You just want to scream. And this little girl is kind of like, na 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 na. She's just playing, like, what is going on? Which
Oh,
is kind of the opposite of that.
yes.
And then this one, I actually wrote about this morning when I was doing my practice, which was, you know, that's it. I'm just going to let the animals eat me.
Oh. Oh. Oh, yeah. Mhm.
Drama queen.
Yes. Partly surrendering, but to what?
Yeah. Yeah, but not in a good
Yeah,
way.
right. Oh, yeah.
Um, and this one is kind of a transitional one where here you have me as a, I see the storm coming. And when you're in it and you see it coming, it looks like everything around you is all about that. But in the background, you see he's standing on a bed of roses.
Oh, yeah.
And in the background is, there's clearing going on. There's a real clearing.
Mm.
And so it's not all it seems.
Yes.
And then this one, just wanting to be soothed,
Oh,
like
so
a mother
sweet.
soothes an infant.
Yes.
The storm's in the background. The mom
Yeah.
is she's
All
just
is well.
holding
You are
you.
held. Yes. Mm.
And then remembering the jewel that I am,
Mm.
precious, precious stones. That's me.
Mm.
Simple, but precious. And then just feeling, looking at just trust, just fall into what I'm desiring, what the life that I want. I've got to trust that. I've got to really just this, as you see the hands with with the watch, it's like a trust fall.
Oh.
And then, Alice, as she's going into into Wonderland, you notice there's bacon and eggs at the top that look like looks like a
Right in the
so
center.
these are, and with the greenery and, bacon and, egg there. Those are the kind of things that happen sometimes in the, in process of doing a collage that it's, you don't, it's kind of a funny thing, but
Oh, it really is. It really is. Yes, imagine that.
and another one, just feeling that feeling of being powerful and able to do things. And you gotta, you gotta someone rooting for you, you know life is rooting for you.
Oh, I love it. Yes.
And who who actually is bringing in me. I'm coming out of the bottle. So,
Beautiful. Mm, so lovely.
yeah, yeah. And then the rejoicing, that's kind of that level of energy of rejoicing and basically, diving in and hearing the um my song, hearing myself, lauded in song.
Uh,
um so very happy and uh you know
mm,
and then this one again, it's kind of like the queen of everything. This is the nickname for this one, queen of
oh,
everything.
makes perfect sense. Yes.
Yeah. So you see even the color, starts to change. The colors are more vivid, the colors are, more
Yeah.
vibrant.
Yes. And what I
And
love
then
about
this
the
one.
queen,
Yeah.
the the
Yes.
crown is in the back. Like she doesn't even know she has a queen on her, a crown
Yeah.
on her head. It's like she is the queen, and all the rest is just performing in the back for
Yeah.
her. It's not what she defines herself to be. Yeah,
Yeah.
just an observation that shows
Yeah.
we see
Yeah.
certain aspects when we look at something, when we allow it to speak to us. And each time
Yeah.
we might see something different. Wow.
Yeah, absolutely. You might see something different because it's not it really because it's almost like you're looking at it from a different perspective. So something may happen and you look at it again, you get, maybe even more information because now you're coming from a different place, you know.
Right. Yes. And you
Yeah.
find your vibration matched in a different
Yeah.
way than before. Wow.
Yeah. And then this one's the final one and actually this is an older version of it because I actually put another balloon here at the bottom, and it's really to kind of represent that, a lot of different aspects, innocence, playfulness, and being surrounded by life, and to kind of be, you know, um, being in charge, being powerful, being in your power, and being able to, you're larger than anything that happens in your life.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
So beautiful. So
Yeah.
powerful. So insightful.
Yeah. I'll have to
So
change
shifting.
that slide to my newest one, but
Oh, yeah.
newest version, but yeah,
Hmm.
it has another little um hot air balloon there at the bottom.
So that happens at times that you all of a sudden feel like, oh, there's something missing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then you
Mm-hmm.
pick up a magazine and go for what speaks to you.
Exactly. Yeah. Or
Ah,
I might even think, I want another element there that adds to that idea that I'm bigger than these things, you know.
and then you come from that vibration, but you don't see like, oh, there has to be another balloon, and then you search for a balloon, or does that happen as well?
Sometimes it happens that way. Sometimes it'll happen that way. But I think this one I started looking for something, and then I thought, another balloon would be fine.
Mm.
And that's what ended up happening. Because yeah, I mean, how many magazines do you know of? You can just go in and look for a balloon, It's not probably
Right.
not a hot air balloon. It's probably not going to be
Right.
there. Um, but you just follow,
Yes.
follow your intuition on what's needed. And if I didn't find anything, I wouldn't put anything there,
Yes.
But sometimes you don't, I'm not as because I'm using it as a tool. It does not have to be perfect by any means. I know some people really are very, very particular about, their result, but sometimes, I just don't. I could take another person's shoulder if it fit there and the color was close enough. I put it there and finish, extend the cut, because really what I'm trying to do is portray that feeling. And once it does that, I'm okay with how it is. I don't have to have it as a perfect piece. So you'll find a lot of my collages that are, some of them aren't even completely pasted down. They're tacked on.
Oh, I love
So
that. I feel that to be part of the relief of crafting something like that. Because
mhm,
when you have an idea of perfection, then it's always different to perfect perfection itself. Perfect
mhm,
perfection always mirrors everything, like infinity mirrors finity or contains finity
yeah,
as well. So it's the same with perfection. Perfection without imperfection would not mirror perfection because it would
right.
cut something out. And I love about
Yeah.
this process that it's not about mirroring you in the way you look or
Mhm.
mirroring the perfect, I mean, even the missing shoulder. It shows
Yeah,
that she's surrounded with all of it, right? Otherwise, you wouldn't see that in the background. There is behind
right.
her, there she's like floating in the
Yeah.
air. Otherwise,
Yeah.
it might look as if it's just the background. So
Yeah.
there's parts to it that we can explain. We don't have to, but they
Mhm.
have its perfection, their perfection in the way it comes together. So
Yeah.
trusting, as you said, as a key part also
Yes.
allows you to take whatever magazine you have.
Yes.
Be it a bad magazine.
And that's the key. That's really important because people say, well, what magazine should I bring? Well, anything. I mean, we had one person in our group who found like some mailers and another magazine was a bat magazine about bats. I mean,
It's so funny, and it worked out perfectly for the
yeah,
theme of hers, right?
yes. I don't think there's an accident there. We're provided with exactly what we need. Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
So despite of experiencing this crafting and this artwork and this transformational process, it's also an experience of trusting and experiencing, I would say, miracles to happen.
Yeah,
Like
I
the
agree.
universe orchestrating things for you even before you know it, because you pick a magazine, or maybe it's a catalog or any paper
Yes.
thing that has some images in there, and from
Mhm.
there you go, right?
Yes.
It might be not making any sense to your mind, but when you go in the way that you take what speaks to you, then you
Mhm.
find it unfold in a very orchestrated way. That was my experience.
Yeah.
And it's like, do you want to have proof of how the universe collaborates with you and orchestrates everything
Yes.
for you? Go into the
Yes.
magazine collaging and the way
Yes. It's
Melanie does it.
so uncanny, isn't it? It's just
Yes.
it's amazing. And so, I mean, there's some craft. You can add craft to it, like, cutting around close to the edges of certain images and, having a background. And these are things that over the years, taking different workshop classes and things like that, I've added to, how I do things. But in the basic approach, it doesn't require any of that fancy, except for things like overlapping. That's important because there's a relationship between those pieces. I mean, there are some basics, but in general, you don't have to get caught up with, what the magazine is. You get a couple of magazines, your intuition is going to select whatever image it needs to
Yes.
communicate what you need to see on the paper
I love
to
that.
give you a message.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And everyone who
So,
does it genuinely will
yeah.
receive a message, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Thank you so,
Yeah.
so, so, so very much for sharing all of this. Now, I guess there are some of us who are inspired to have a guided process with you together in person or via Zoom experience.
Mhm.
How are they able to get in touch with you or to know when upcoming workshops take place?
Well, you can reach me on Instagram, Lovey Matisse, Lovey Matisse. That's my account there, and that's probably the best way to get in touch with me, and then DM me.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful.
Yeah,
And if there's anything upcoming that is like enduring, then we will also put it into the description of this video.
okay.
So you might check from time to time the updates there.
Yes.
Is there anything that you would love to address before we part and allow everyone to
Mm.
search for magazines to go right into the process themselves? What would you like to share from a place of
Let's
consciousness?
see. What comes to mind is that um, there's, I mean, there's a lot of different ways to do collage. I mean, there's also tissue paper, but this is one of the simplest ones. And having done it for so long, and it being, I don't know, kind of my go-to, I guess. you know, I part of the reason why I think I really wanted to do it is that and I didn't say this before, is my background was in interior design and graphics. And what I found was that you can get really caught up in that field, that way of doing things, how you learned how to do it in school or what the industry wants you to do. And this is a way to totally get, for me, to totally get away from that and just express and find and just discover. It's fun, you know, rather than make it, you know, have to have some um uh you know sanctioned way of doing collage. I mean, if you go, you know, find more about collage, you'll probably see where it is used as an art form. But for me, it's just, and what I found for other people is it's such an easy way. Magazine collage is such an easy way to get out of that and not put a lot of pressure on yourself, especially done this way, so that you can just play and discover. In fact, when I've done in-person workshops, we just play music and talk while we're doing it. It's not like a really, you know, heavy art studio kind of arrangement. It's just a very, because it keeps us from doing the thinking and allows us to just, you know, work with what our intuition is telling us.
Wonderful.
So yeah. And thank you so much,
Thank
Marlena,
you.
for
Thank you. What would be your
having
shout
me.
out to everyone to really be encouraged and just go for it?
It's a fun process. It's a matter of, I mean, even if you didn't do a session with me, take some magazines, glue stick. It's as simple as a couple of magazines, glue stick, and a poster board maybe, and do a small one. You know, just try it out. Try out doing it, and just be open to discovery. Be open to what your intuition might be telling you, and just play with it. No judgment, just have fun.
Beautiful. Wonderful,
So,
wonderful, wonderful.
yeah.
Thank you so much. It was such a fun time having this miraculous Harmony Helpers conversation with you today, dear Lovey Matisse.
Thank you, Marlena. Thank you, everyone.